Hey guys, welcome to today's episode of Loddy's NBA Locks. We went 3-0 last night, 12-7 on the week, 84 and 59 in NBA picks this season. If you're not following me on Instagram, you should. sports.betting.system. I post my NBA and NHL picks on here pretty much every day. Some days I don't though. I always post them on Instagram and I post picks for other sports as well. Posted 7 English Premier League picks this week, went 6-1. So if you're not following me on Instagram, go check it out. That's sports.betting.system. Let's get to today's picks. First, the Atlanta Hawks -2 at home over the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls have been playing quite well lately, 5-3 since acquiring Otto Porter Jr., winners of 4 of their last 5. Let's not get lost in the sauce, though, people. Otto Porter Jr. isn't LeBron James or even a Paul George. He's a solid player. He doesn't make Chicago a playoff team. The reality is, this is still a bad team, just having a good stretch. Is their roster significantly better than Atlanta's? No. They're both bad. So let's take the team that's playing at home. 3 straight road wins for Chicago. They won their last 2 by combined 3 points. They're due for a loss on the road. Lock number 1 is the Atlanta Hawks -2 at home over the Chicago Bulls. Lock number 2, the Toronto Raptors -5 at home over the Portland Trailblazers. Cool little stat for you guys. This will be the 6th Friday night game in Toronto for the Raptors this season. They're 5-0 in their Friday night games on their home floor, winning by at least 12 points or more, including wins against the Celtics, Spurs, and the Nets in January, when Brooklyn had the best or were tied for the best record in the month of January in the entire NBA. Toronto is a beautiful city, people. If you haven't been, you should come in the summer, of course. But there's lots to do in Toronto, man. Definitely in the conversation for best cities for NBA players to go out in. They talk about it all the time, players do. Charles Barkley says it's his favorite city in the world. The Blazers were in Toronto yesterday, much like the other 5 teams that played on Friday night in Toronto. Is it possible the Blazers, in the middle of a long, successful road trip, decided to go out last night in Toronto? Cool stat. Not enough to sway you to bet on Toronto, but it should sway you away from betting on Portland. Now let's look at the facts. Raptors 26-6 on their home floor, Blazers 14-15 road record, which they've improved tremendously on this current road trip they're on. Before this, the Trailblazers hadn't won 3 consecutive games on the road, not even where they won like 2 road games, came home for a couple, then went back on the road for the third. They're on a 4-game road win streak right now, mostly against playoff teams too, by the way. The Nets, the Sixers, the Celtics. They have to be getting tired, though. A little homesick, maybe. This is the toughest part of the road trip because they've been away from home for a little over a week now, and they still have almost a week to go. If they lose the last 3 games on this road trip, it would be disappointing. Losing 3 straight never feels good, but it would still be a successful road trip overall at 4-3 with wins against the Celtics and the Sixers, and they would just be fired up for their next game at home. The point is, motivation is hard to come by at this point for the Blazers. They can't even look at each other and say, Toronto beat us on our home floor. Let's go beat them, because they didn't. Portland won that game. Toronto will take this one. Lock number 2, Raptors -5 over the Portland Trailblazers. Lock number 3, let's take the Celtics -9 at home over the Washington Wizards. At the beginning of the season, the Washington Wizards said, there is no way an NBA franchise can be more dysfunctional than we are now. And the Boston Celtics responded, hold my beer. Both teams suffer from the same problem. Too many egos. It's NBA lesson time, guys. Everyone playing in the NBA wants to be the or a part of the reason their team is winning. It's not enough just to win. They want to be why their team wins, or at least recognized as a part of why their team is winning. And so their decision making on the court reflects that. Successful teams are like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, except on an NBA team, the top is the most important. The top slot is for the franchise player, the number 1 guy, the guy who gets the ball at the end of the game when it's tied. The slot below is for the 2 and 3 guys, the number 2 and the number 3 guys, because successful teams nowadays need a big 3. And there isn't a lot of space at the top. There's more and more space as you go down the hierarchy. But at the top, there's only room for 1. And the second, right below it, there's only room for 2. Then you got the slot below the number 2 and the number 3 guys. So we're at the third space for role players. Guys who are really good at one part of the game, let's say shooting or rebounding, and they're willing to only do what they're good at. If they're known as a really good rebounder, they're not going to go out and jack up threes. They know that's not what they're good at doing. They know that's not why they're on the team. Then the spot at the bottom of the hierarchy for the dirty work guys. Guys who only play in situations where other guys on the team are in foul trouble, there are injuries, but guys that are willing to come in and give maximum effort while they're on the floor, even if that means they don't get on the floor every single night. So if everyone accepts their place in the hierarchy and plays their role, the team will play to their full potential. Issues arise when guys who are more like the second or third option are trying to be the first. They're trying to fit on the top, but there's only room for one guy up there. Or role players are trying to be one of the big 3. Dirty work guys who want to be role players. And these issues exist to a degree on almost every team in the NBA. It's extreme for the Wizards because their best player, John Wall, is being paid like a top 5 player when he's not. And in fact, his team has had just as much success without him as they do with him, which is not a lot. On the Celtics, the problem is they have too many good players. Those guys who want to be number 2s and number 3s could be on most teams. Those guys who want to be significant role players could be on most teams. So the question is, when do they set their egos aside? Well, in the playoffs, because winning a championship outweighs everything. On a big win streak, because it's hard to complain about your role when the team is winning. And on a long losing streak, because, well, no one likes to lose. At 4 games, this is the longest losing streak the Celtics have been on this season. They've had 3 3-game losing streaks, which tells you, despite their chemistry issues this season, they always get it together before they let the losing get too out of hand. And let me just read you the scores in the games they won after those 3-game losing streaks. 114-96 over the Hawks, 119-103 over the Hornets, 117-108 over the Raptors. Lock number 3, Celtics -9 at home over the Washington Wizards. Lock number 4, Sacramento Kings -3 at home over the Los Angeles Clippers. Both teams struggling a little bit lately. Sacramento loses of 4 of 5. The Clippers loses of 2 of 3. But Sacramento has been on the road for 3 of those 4 losses, where they're just 12-18. The one loss at home was by a point in overtime to the best team in the NBA, the Milwaukee Bucks. The Clippers are solid on the road at 17-17. Still not as good as Sacramento at home, where they're 19-12. LA has won the first 3 meetings against the Kings this season. Let's bet on the season series ending 3-1 before it ends 4-0 for the Clips. Lock number 4, Kings over Clippers. Lock number 5, King James, baby. We're taking the Lakers +5 at home against the Milwaukee Bucks. Fun stat. The Bucks have won 6 straight and 18 of their last 20. Them losing this game fits the pattern of their last 20 games. They won 6, lost, won 6, lost. Now they've won 6 again. Like the other fun stat, not enough to make you bet on that team. This pick is about the Lakers. You're looking at them thinking they just split games with the Pelicans. They just lost to the Grizzlies. Well, before that, they beat the Rockets. It's the NBA, people. Beating a team doesn't make you better than them. The Lakers lost a couple games they should have won. They know if they want to make the playoffs, that means they need to win a couple games they shouldn't win. This game means so much more than the Lakers than it does to the Bucks, who, by the way, were in LA last night. What would you do if you're a professional basketball player that lives most of the year in Milwaukee with a night off in LA? You've won 18 of your last 20, 6 straight. You deserve a night out. Lock number 5 and final lock of the day, Lakers +5 at home against the Milwaukee Bucks. Thanks for listening. Good luck if you're placing any bets tonight. I will be posting NHL picks a little bit later. Have a great weekend and be sure to tune in again tomorrow.
Major key alert! I got the keys. I got the